Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3. These nuts. Haha. I said it before Hakeem said it. Haha. I'm so
He said the thing. He said the thing.
You know when you have what you call it? One of those stupid, not skit shows. What do you call it? Like Friends. What is Friends? That's
not reality show. What the fuck? Garbage. Friends is garbage. That's what the fuck it is.
Yes, it is. But there we cannot find like colloquial American terms to describe like the specific type of show.
Mm-hmm.
And JT has not jumped in to tell us exactly what it means. So our audience probably is already realizing we're one member short this beautiful, beautiful episode. But if there's ever a reason to not show up to arguably the most important thing a person can do on planet Earth, which is record a podcast.
Exactly right.
That is the birth of a small, beautiful little communist. Hakeem, how do you feel about potentially being an uncle?
Hey, my man, you know, I actually am already an uncle, but I will gladly add to my repertoire. All right. Oh, but the more children, the more the merrier. That's the fucking stupid saying. I'm so happy and proud for him. But also, I love, he was very nonchalant, I think is the word. Because he was just like, hey guys, like it's happening today. So like I won't be able to record.
A human being is coming to life. A human being that is 50% you. And you're like, but like I have like a thing today. You know, I gotta like go pay probably $70,000 at the hospital for this like new human to be born. It's incredible.
He talked about it like he's going to get a haircut. Oh my god.
My wife's just gonna pop one out, you know.
But yeah, so that's why our beautiful baby boy JT isn't with us right now. Is because he is hopefully meeting his beautiful baby boy or girl. We don't know. So that's that. Otherwise, I was gonna say. Our lovely Yugopnik, he's been to the US recently. He's been to the land of the free, the home of the brave.
Yeah.
Did you have to tell them I am not and have never been a member of the Communist Party? You already got the visa. Never mind.
You would be surprised actually right at the gate on the entry point because I was there a few times before. I was welcomed in a much different manner than I was welcomed the last 2 or 3 times that I went there. I guess now they know like, okay, this guy does not want to steal our jobs or our women, so like they didn't really question me much, etc., etc. Because if you have gone back from their country, they're like, we didn't get this one. Like this guy didn't fall in love with what we have to offer, and he doesn't want to slave away with 3 jobs and 7 mortgages for the rest of his life, thinking he's in the best country on planet Earth. But I guess JT's baby knew at the exact right moment to come out, because now I am freshly off the boat, as they say, and I can kind of indirectly be the resident American, bro. Not just any resident American, but a resident American from Boston. Yes.
Oh, where they say, hey, what the fuck? What's that?
We want baseball.
Blair, that's what I said last time. It was like, before somebody from New Jersey says, hey, Blair. I don't fucking remember what I said. Sorry, go on. I got
from my interaction with most Bostonites, it was usually Arabic and Slavic that I heard absolutely everywhere. but jokes aside, it is a beautiful city. It is absolutely mesmerizing. It's got so much history. It's got so many universities, so many young people, such incredible food. And yet it is a city in a country that prides itself as the beacon of freedom. And on a Thursday, Wednesday, or whatever, not a single bar was open after fucking 9 p.m., 10 p.m. They didn't sell beer on a baseball match after 8 because people would get too drunk and riot or something.
My lord.
Me, someone who has experienced like Eastern European football matches with ultras, and literally if you don't know the song, they fucking cut your finger off and they make your child eat it in front of you. My experience of watching baseball, which I still must concur with you, Brother Hakeem, is the most boring sport on planet Earth. But I must say I genuinely enjoyed the experience. Me and a friend of mine who is not an American but is from Boston, when we went into to actually watch the show, we had our like seats somewhere all the way up there with the working class. He was like, dude, fuck this shit. We walked down all the way to the fucking VIP shit. We sat down. I'm like, dude, someone's gonna kick us out. And he's like, nah, these are Yanks. Like, nobody fucking suspects that anybody would have the balls to sit in a spot that is not reserved for them. I was so skeptical of that. But nah, we sat there whole match. Nobody didn't fucking touch us. I mean, you know, he's a bulky Russian dude. I am a Balkanoid, right in the middle of all of these Americans. Probably a lot of the people that passed next to us with their tickets probably leading them to that seat that just continued walking because, you know, they were for obvious reasons. But jokes aside, there were some Americans behind us, and we were very open about the fact that we have no idea what's happening on the pitch, and they were very cool about it. Like Massachusettsans, is that what they are? Massachusettsans? Okay, let's call them Massachusettsans.
I'm not the right person to ask.
But they were very chill about it. Like Hakeem, like if I don't know what the most popular sport is in Iraq, but football obviously is
by far, yeah.
Okay. Football as well. If you go on the field like a cocky foreigner, right, and you start asking the people around on the actual pitch, on the actual, you know, seats watching the thing. Oh, yo man, I don't know anything about this stupid fucking sport, which is what the Russian was literally saying. Yeah. And mind you, a Russian right now, not very fun to be that nationality in America. That's for sure. He was just so like casual about not liking the sport and not understanding it, and nobody gave a shit. Like nobody gives a shit. So mad respect to the Yanks for that. Genuinely, I don't know what would happen in Iraq, in Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia. You would literally eat your legs. Like they would compact you better than a Texan lawnmower. You know.
Now that I think about it, I think most people here would actually be fairly friendly about it. They'd be like, okay, and they would sit with you and try to explain the sport, but they would talk a lot. They're not gonna be quiet. And if somebody saw you sitting where you're not supposed to be sitting, they can be like, what the fuck? Because all the other people who aren't supposed to be sitting there would have already occupied the space. Or they would do this shit where some guy will walk up to you and he doesn't have the ticket for the seat, but he'll tell you, this is my seat. He'll be like, this is my seat. Get the fuck out. Oh man. So that also happens. Fuck.
But yeah, great experience, lovely people. Definitely not land of the free. You guys do not sell beer after 8. I like they lose their minds about somebody potentially taking away like a piece of metal that when you press a button, a missile flies out of it. But they're absolutely fine with somebody taking away like the pinnacle of Americanism, which is beer, away from them. Nobody bats a fucking eye.
Was it only at the stadium, or is this like across like all the
stores? All the 24-hour stores had their like liquor cabinets locked. It was like,
what the fuck, really?
Yeah, dude.
After 8?
Yeah, 8, 9, 10. I don't remember specifically. I could Google it, and this could be a professional podcast, but I will not. I refuse to.
No, we don't do that here.
Because it was a Thursday, like this lovely couple that I was there with lives in Boston for like 6-7 years now, and they were like during the weekdays, like everybody goes to bed at like 11 so they can wake up and slave away. Nobody's at a bar, nobody's at like a club or something. There was nothing. Like, and I was like, they're fucking lying to me. They want to go to bed, they're tired. We opened Google Maps and we clicked bars open in the center, in the downtown area. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not like
that
one place.
Very
nothing.
Weird.
That is very weird. Everything was a ghost town at like 10 p.m. Like here, it's so alive. Christ. Then, you know, except for obviously homeless people and crack addicts, which I do not say are the same thing. Like it was completely empty.
Jesus Christ, that's very weird.
It's very weird.
Well, good to know. Good to know the weird like white people discomfort of. Have you noticed that? Like, okay, actually, in Southern Europe and Eastern Europe, this isn't very much the case. But almost all the rest, for some reason, shit just closes at like 7.
Yeah.
Have you experienced this?
Absolutely.
Why is this the case?
Now some like Sotsdem listening is going to be like, because workers' rights, you know, you can't force somebody to work after 7.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can go out at 3 a.m. to get a fucking waffle, all right? I can get kiwis and fucking Nutella and shit on it. That is what living life is, okay? Yep. And the guy behind the counter couldn't be happier to be fucking doing this shit, right? I give him a little extra for his trouble. We sit down, we chat shit, we have some fucking tea. Come on, that's life.
That is a free country, my friend. But I guess we'll have to export that sort of freedom over there. But,
boy, that's the way. The joint Yugoslav Arab fucking peacekeeping forces. Maybe one day. I was gonna ask you, how was the homophobic chicken?
Okay, so I had the homophobic chicken. I really like the homophobic chicken. But the other thing
Really?
that JT calls chicken nuggies, that shit is like so plain. It literally made my skin go paler. Like I went to Popeyes or whatever the fuck it's called. It sucks. Like it sucks. I prefer KFC, but like it sucks. So yeah, homophobic chicken. Pretty decent. I after I ate it, I cursed out a bunch of dudes for being gay. But other than that, there's not really any backdrops, any minuses to the experience, and especially with the wait staff in the US being like extremely next level. Not in obviously the fast food joints where you go up to the thing, but it's just like a completely different experience. And I'm not even sure if I should like it or dislike it, because I understand they want to make me feel comfortable and stuff, but it goes to a point where I feel like it's a slaver relationship where they're like being so overtly nice that I feel like I am oppressing them. It's very strange to describe, and it's always very weird. But it does lead to tipping higher, so that's a thing.
I was just gonna say, I would rather my server be a little bit more of a dick, but also get a living wage rather than having to grovel on my feet for that just seems. Plus, like, you know, it kind of right. Like I'm just some guy getting fucking like appetizers. You don't need to do this much. But you know, I get what you mean. Sorry, go on. I cut you off.
Totally, not totally, and especially. You have waiters in our part of the world that will tell you this shit sucks in the menu. Take something else. Waiters, they would do like an extra thing without being polite, but they would do an extra thing. Here, you basically only get the politeness and the expectance of some sort of cash for the politeness. And the weird thing is when they pretend that they give a fuck about how you're doing, how's your day? Oh, it's his birthday. Oh, let's talk about that. It's straight. Oh, you guys here on a business trip? Oh, where are you from? Like, she obviously doesn't care, but okay, I can accept it. And the last point, I'm gonna stop bothering you about Hugo U.S. experiences. Is like
just serenade me, please. I have no complaints.
I don't know if Eastern Europe got more expensive or just like the US is no longer like the definition of an extremely expensive place. Probably like when it comes to living, etc., it's expensive. But I remember 6-7 years ago when I went there, you know, basically as a bit older than a teenager, nothing was absolutely touchable, like when it comes to prices, etc., etc. Now, a lot of the shit is just, you know, the dollar version of the local currency. It's I guess it took a while for the low prices of Eastern Europe left over as a socialist kind of gift to us to catch up. Like, I didn't feel like I'm like in a place that is completely unaffordable. I mean, I did feel like I'm in a place that's completely unaffordable because every place on planet Earth at this point is fucking unaffordable. But you get my point. It didn't feel like I'm in fucking Dubai or something.
You know, wait, hold on. There's another thing. What about the Native American guy?
Oh, it might be a long story. Okay, I'm not. Okay, so I was a victim of anti-racism, basically. This is going to be very taboo. I go up to like the TSA checkup, and there's this Native American guy in front of me wearing like Native American patches, very obviously Native American. They make him take off like his traditional boots. It takes a while. They're really bitchy towards him, etc., etc. And I already feel bad. He's an older guy, like 65 maybe. Later on, we go on the plane. It's an international plane flying obviously from the US over to Istanbul. And, you know, it's relatively packed, but I'm lucky enough to sit like in the mid-row seat, and all the 3 seats next to me, and on the 4th one, are completely empty. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to sleep here. I'm going to chill here. This is going to be so fucking nice. Like, the flight is going to be like much quicker. I'm basically in business class without having to pay for that shit. Fuck yeah. I'm watching my movie or whatever for like 2-3 hours, even sleep for 1 hour. And, you know, they closed the blinds. They made it all dark so people can sleep to avoid a bit of the jet lag. And all of a sudden, I see this elderly Native American gentleman walking, slowly towards me. And he comes up to me and sees that there's 3 spots free next to me. And I'm like, oh, hi, sir.
Yeah.
And he's like, hi, very politely. He's like, I can see that you have a lot of space next to you. I'm like next to 2-3 other people, and we're very tightly packed. He was a bigger gentleman, right? Could I please sit here? I'm like, yes, obviously, thinking though that this motherfucker is going to go and sit on the 4th seat, like the seat furthest away from me. He does that. He does that for like a minute, and then he just lays. Takes up all 3 seats, falls asleep in a matter of 2 seconds, and starts snoring like Apache helicopters are flying right next to the plane, right? And I'm sitting there, and this motherfucking person in front of me as well moves back their seat completely because she wanted to fucking sleep. So I went from being the most comfortable person on the plane to being literally the most uncomfortable person on the plane. Everybody else had at least 1 extra seat next to them. And I looked down at him, and I'm not even kidding. I might get flack for this. But it was like, if he was any other ethnicity on planet Earth, I would tell him to get the fuck up. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're being a piece of shit. But I looked at him, and I'm like, man, those guys went through such hard fucking shit. Let him fucking sleep on the 3 fucking seats, bro. Literally because he's Native American. I didn't say anything. I don't know why. I don't know. It was weird.
I agree. No, I agree. I completely agree. I back you up on that train of thought. No. At first, what I thought the meme I thought where it was going is that he sat on the 4th seat, the furthest away from you, and then he got up and then moved and came and just sat right next to you.
That would be better because his head was right next to my thigh, and he had very long hair. And every time I would move, his hair would get stuck in my thigh, and then I would pull his entire head, and he wouldn't wake up. Just his snoring would go from into because it would open his mouth. Welcome back to the most original podcast concept of all times. Dudes sitting behind a microphone and talking about what are, in their opinions, the most important current events. Welcome to the 3rd installment of Send News. Before we start, this podcast is fully sponsor-free and independent, a luxury we can only afford thanks to our wonderful supporters. Consider becoming one by checking out the links in the description and get plenty of added benefits as well. Now, let's hit it off with a big one. Russian mobilization and massive territorial losses in the past 2 weeks. With winter looming and an estimated 300,000 fresh boots on the ground, Ukrainian forces have done an impressive job pushing through the now almost forgotten, no support having Russian defensive forces. For a while, I was thinking the Ruskies were maybe playing 4D chess, and that I might be missing something, but after such massive logistical failures, I'd be surprised if they're even playing 1D chess. This isn't to say, obviously, that the Russian boots on the ground being severely outnumbered, which is borderline a hilarious event when you're the force that's advancing and attacking, but they still have caused
10-1, insane.
Yeah, but they have still caused insane casualties on the Ukrainian side, even though they were eventually were forced to pull back. This whole set of events has caused doubt even in the most pro-Russian corners of Russian media as well as online personalities, and the current call for mobilization isn't obviously helping the situation either. We don't have an exact number, but it's believed that over 200,000 Russians have left the country motivated by their lack of interest in potentially participating in the war in the future. 200,000 Russians have been successfully mobilized, and according to Russian info, over 70,000 volunteers have applied, which should lead to around 370,000 strong added troops of mixed experience, mixed between, people with experience and people totally lost in time and space, ready for the front in a couple of months. Obviously, as most of you might know, the mobilization caused a lot of mistakes. People who never should have been mobilized if the country was getting mobilized totally ended up getting called up for the conflict in this so-called concentrated mobilization. Over 10 commissariat buildings, the places where you go sign up, have been burned to the ground. Even some army recruiters have been shot. A relatively prominent rapper killed himself after seeing he received a mobilization request the other day. All in all, this is an internal Z meme, I guess, but morale not great, brother. But when is it ever great when you call for mobilization? There's something to expect. Obviously, this didn't stop Western chauvinist idiots blaming the fleeing Russians from potential recruitment cowards. We should go back and somehow overthrow Putin, who, and pardon me, have already committed acts of violence against their state in the last month in regards to their opposition to the war and the mobilization than U.S. citizens did in 10 years of Iraqi invasion and occupation. So shut the fuck up, even from that point of view.
With all due respect,
no matter where you side in this war, it's evidently not going in the direction most experts thought it would. But that doesn't mean anything in the long run. As some of you might know, al-Assad was getting his ass handed to him up until one point, and now he sits atop the glorious throne of his Syrian Republic. But this war, this special operation can...
Zelensky is no Assad, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but depends. Maybe Putin is al-Assad. We'll see who is al-Assad. This thing can go in hundreds of directions. I just hope it includes the less corpses, the better.
I think the other side of this that was a bit irritating to see on fucking Reddit. I hate Reddit. I need to just reemphasize how much I fucking hate Reddit. But the new, what's it called, counteroffensive, or no, it's not even a counteroffensive, it's just a regular offensive that the Ukrainians were carrying out, for the most part, on most sides, has been pretty much a failure, aside from the Kherson direction, and the city that they captured recently in the Donetsk area, Liman, is basically logistically useless for the Ukrainians and will be very difficult for them to keep. And that's not my opinion. That's the opinion of various experts in the field. So it just goes to show what the fuck were they thinking. And I think this is more like a propaganda thing, just so they could grab something and keep it and have it, for the Western, newspapers. So they can be like, see, give us more money, please, Biden. $850 million in fucking aid, in military aid, please.
Fuck the fact that there's floods happening in our own country.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we'll get to that. But yeah, still, it's very interesting. In a weird and morbid way, I hope this doesn't fucking get us canceled. In a weird and morbid way, following this war is kind of fun, but also not, the people are dying. Yeah. People are suffering as a result of this, right? And the suffering has been even extended internationally. But also, this is the first time that we see a highly sophisticated, mechanized war between two standing armies and two stable governments, right, which have control over almost all their entire areas, meeting in the battlefield and having basically relatively modern war tactics and whatnot. This is the first time we see this. For the past 30 years or so, or even 40 years, the only thing we've been seeing is a much more technologically sophisticated and much wealthier enemy attacking people, or either fucking exactly, farmers or fucking goat herders, and still lose, interestingly enough, by the way. Right? But this is actually a confrontation between two relatively sophisticated, highly disciplined, for the most part, militaries. So it's interesting to see this purely from a analysis point of view.
And not only that, but also fun is not the right word, but still it has so many dramatic turns that it's fucking scripted. All of a sudden, nothing is happening, and all of a sudden the Ukrainians send a missile and blow up the prison camp of Ukrainian Nazi prisoners. You're like, whoa, this is a fucking script, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like twists and turns you don't see coming. You're like, I don't want to be entertained by this, but holy fuck, like, what? Like, this is like, who's writing this?
I was gonna say, did you see the New York Times piece where they're like, heartwarming reunion between Asaf commander and his family in Turkey? And it's like, this is a literal Nazi. You're showing you fucking idiot.
So beautiful.
Oh my god.
But I even posted about this. Make fun of Western press for idolizing literal Nazis, but don't forget, like, who let them go after literally saying that the whole war is about fucking whacking those fucking assholes. It's insane. The exchange for other prisoners. You cannot give me an argument. Like, this is like the Yanks letting Saddam Hussein go. Like, what the fuck? I
think at the end of the day,
imbecilic.
I agree with you, but also at the end of the day, I think if they really want to get rid of them, they would. Like, they're so insignificant. Who knows? Who knows what the fuck they were thinking? But what was I going to say? The point about me hating Reddit, the second this fucking stupid offensive started, you know, whenever you go to search something, and then they show up the top stories, and they're all like, Slava Ukraini, fucking, you know, the pog face fucking, what's it called, Funko Pop people, right? And they're like, fucking Zelensky's gonna win, I'm like, what is wrong? Like, no, this is not what's gonna fucking happen. They had a kind of a, you know, they're throwing literally everything they have. All right. Oh man, but who knows where this will go. At the end of the day, I'm just we hope for peace
always.
But
always. And it's important to mention that it's the end of a nation-to-nation conflict. The end will not really satisfy anybody. So when you openly criticize any sort of negotiations, no matter what side you are on, you're not doing anything except exacerbate the conflict. Pro tip from two guys that we're not 50, but we've either witnessed or read up about plenty of wars, and like, don't expect your side to like ride in on a white horse and that's how into the capital of the enemy, and this is how it fucking ends. People who hate each other will have to sit at the fucking table, okay?
Yeah, exactly right. Jesus Christ, the amount of fucking garbage that you see, by the way, when you look up now, like, news sources. And this is something of a change that I've noticed kind of recently. Sorry if I'm changing the fucking topic, but back in the day, at least, like, I would say, 8 years ago, whenever you would read, like, I used to read The Guardian a lot, not to get my information, just to see how they like to present their information, right? And I remember they would always try to be quote-unquote balanced, quote-unquote, by trying to be like semi-critical. Most of it is still like pro, you know, US and pro-Western foreign policy and economic interest bias, all that kind of stuff. But they would try to bullshit being balanced by having semi-critical critical pieces every once in a while. But now when you go on the BBC or Reuters or wherever else, you see basically fucking none of that. It's almost entirely like propagandistic levels of nonsense. It's all like if you're to go on the BBC right now, you're going to see anti-Iran stuff, you're going to see anti-Russian stuff, and you're going to see anti-DPRK things, and anti-Chinese. By the way, there's several fucking anti-Chinese articles that are completely irrelevant. Do you know what stupid shit that they have on Europe? Like, why are Gen Z Europeans drinking less? Like, take a ride around San Francisco in a driverless taxi. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This is what the fuck that they have. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
It's completely masked up. Like, they realized that they're wasting their time by camouflaging the shit the way they did up until a decade ago. So why camouflage the shit? Like, the editor is still going to let you publish your thing. So if you're a writer with a particular bias, you're relatively open about the bias. And as we said 500 times on this fucking podcast, it's absolutely okay to have a bias. There is no news without a bias. But when you have a bias and you're coming out and saying, no, we're legitimate media because we're not biased, that's where the problem lies. Like, say, I am pro, I don't fucking know. I'm pro Bolsonaro and write pro-Bolsonaro shit. But no, you're going to write pro-Bolsonaro shit, but make it sound like, because you're from a renowned newspaper, your opinions are actually objective. It's not that you prefer that fucking guy. You get my point.
Anyways, I'm gonna just slightly moving to something lighter than the tragedy between Russia and Ukraine. This is such a stupid story, I swear. So in Denmark, all right, the Danish royal family, particularly the queen, she has stripped her grandchildren of their titles.
Oh no!
Yes, right. Ooh, the fucking controversy, right? And this is the thing. Last week. I'll just quote it. The Queen of Denmark has apologized after stripping 4 of her grandchildren of their royal titles, but has not reversed the decision. Ooh la la! What a fucking! I'm surprised. What's her name? Hillary Clinton hasn't come out of the woodwork to girl boss her. But anyway,
that's so
the
gutsy.
Point apparently of
sorry.
Yeah. So basically, the meme is that Queen Marguerite, however the fuck you pronounce it, she wants to maintain a quote-unquote modern royalty. Yes, as if such a thing could exist.
I would like this. I would like this white black, please. You know, I would like this sour sweet. You know. Okay. Yeah.
The only way you can make the royalty modern is if they get the Romanov treatment. Anyways, do we need to censor that? We'll see. It's up to JT. Anyways, so apparently the title of prince and princess has been removed for what the fuck, duke and duchess and shit like that, count and countess, like these things, right? And let me just read you the names of the grandchildren. Prince Henrik, okay. Yeah. Prince Felix, pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Prince Nikolai and Princess Athena. What the fuck? These aren't Danish names. What the fuck is this?
One got the Bolshevik treatment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in a way, yes, that's true. But yeah, they will now be known as with their titles Count and Countess of Montpezat instead of Prince and Princess. Oh my word, the fucking, oh Jesus Christ.
It's like,
and
it's like when, I don't know, a celebrity says, I'm no longer going to take 20 private jet flights this week. In order to preserve the environment, I'm going to take 10.
No,
I'm not a prince, I'm a count.
No. But yeah, and then the wife of of one of the princes was like, change can be difficult, can hurt, but this doesn't mean the decision is not the right one. I'm like, okay, who gives a shit, number one, but number two, here's my favorite part. This queen, the Danish one, who's 82, she got COVID positive when she went to go see her third cousin, which is the now dead Elizabeth of England, isn't that just lovely how basically is just one inbred family that still somehow has like power, or not power, but at least some constitutional authority in some form across several European countries. Isn't that just bullshit? But yeah, that's a bit of light treatment after the.
Isn't it interesting that she started talking about this exactly after Elizabeth died? This feels like, why is all the attention on my dead cousin? Let me do something interesting so people can talk about me. Like, this is literally what it feels like.
You know what? That does actually kind of sound that in a way sort of petty that way. Fuck me. Like, all right, but that's that. Sorry. Yeah.
The timing. I mean, come on.
So they will be getting a visit from the Lenin's corpse, Lenin's spirit, and hopefully he. You know what? People know where I'm going with this. I don't even need to finish the fucking point.
No need even for the censorship, baby.
Yeah, genuinely. All right, take us to the next one, Habibi.
Brazilians will go to the polls again after former president won first vote but failed to secure a majority over the incumbent. Lula, equally loved and sometimes criticized leftist figure by leftists, will have to go up against Bolsonaro, an open, clero-fasciste, conspiracy-stricken, constantly sick-looking walking mummy, in the second round of elections. After almost 700,000, fucking crazy, every time I say these numbers, people died in Brazil due to COVID, and I don't know, half of the bloody fucking Amazon burned down. It would be a wonder if Bolsonaro won again, but leave it to the people to make contrarian, idiotic choices, I guess. Oh my God, you got like the communist is making fun of the people. Yeah, yes, all the time, gladly. I love the working class. It doesn't mean the working class is very intelligent, okay? Like the way a very funny funny meme I saw the other day. He's like, I just read the Das Kapital. The working class are fucking losers. What do you think? You know, like,
oh my god!
But that's basically what it says. You know, you're losers. Stop being fucking losers. Beat the shit out of your bullies. In very simplified form. Not really, but you get it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, these are all memes. But no, what I was gonna say is, didn't Lula actually win? I thought that was the meme. The first rounds he did actually win the popular vote, but of course, I mean, like with the interests and power in Brazil, they never cleared out the military junta fascists. Yeah. So no wonder he was in prison for a while too, right? On bullshit charges.
Yeah, it's super fucked up. I mean, Bolsonaro even hinted that he will not leave office if defeated, raising concerns, obviously, of like a Trump-like insurrection among his supporters. Wow. And I love this is a quote from obviously an American written fucking thing. Like, there have been so many insurrections, especially in South America, that are much more, let's call it, productive than a bunch of people walking around taking selfies in the White House. And if a fucking South American fascist does a coup, trust me, it's going to be a lot redder than what you think. But I love how now, like, the Trump insurrection is like their like definition of a coup. It's very cute.
It's cringe. It's so fucking cute. Cringe. Whoa, how Trumpian of you! Shut the fuck up. These liberals need to be strangled, I swear to God.
But yeah, I don't know what you think, Hakeem. I know we try to stay away from like electoral fetishism here on the show. But in contrast to many elections all over the world, this one is where I would honestly go out and cast a vote without, my guts turning in self-disgust.
This is the thing, right? Vast majority of elections are most of the time usually useless. Yep. Here, there's at least a semi-legitimate difference between the two. But this is, of course, up to Brazilian comrades to develop an analysis of, and then understand, and then bring it to us and explain their positions and whatnot on it. And these are the people we should listen to. Regardless, though, if to my knowledge, when Lula was last in office, he had I think an approval rating of 84% or something like that. Very high, very high. Yeah. Compared to Bolsonaro's fucking right.
Bolsonaro increases his approval rating by literally killing his population with COVID. He kills the smart people.
Yeah. Fuck. But yeah, so there's nothing we can do to affect it, but who knows?
We have a Brazilian listenership. I think like around 2% of all our listeners are from Brazil. So
hey, so shout outs to all you great people. Very good food. That's all I know. You guys, nobody knows their way around meat better than Brazilians. Don't tell the Argentinians, but
I would say the same thing about Brazilian women, but I don't know if that's allowed anymore.
Okay.
Can I even call anyone beautiful?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're beautiful, Habibi.
Oh, but thank you.
So the general trend is, we hope Bolsonaro ends in a pit somehow and then gets eaten from the inside. But
God knows his body is trying to kill him, but he's just fucking refusing. Genuinely. How can a self-respecting fascist, a person who believes in power above all, follow? But then again, what am I saying? The last big Nazi leader was a fucking limp dick, weird ass fat motherfucker,
So here's hoping that there's some sort of significant change that happens in Brazil, but also, of course, the usual agitate, educate, organize, all the usual advice. And hey, best of luck to all our Brazilian comrades in the struggle for the progressive forces. But yeah, I have nothing else to add. It's just funnily enough that in our notes, Bolsonaro is described as the eternally sick fash. Oh my god. There's an article. I've noticed the theme. I'm keeping them kind of light. There's an article from the BBC, and it's titled "Gen Z: The Workers Who Want It All." And it has a picture of this woman who's maybe 28 years old with like a fringe. Mm-hmm. And she's she's Mrs. Professional. She's sitting there with her coffee cup in some like official corporate office, and the blurb underneath is work-life balance, fair pay, and value alignment. Today's youngest workers want it all and are willing to walk away if they don't get it. Shut the fuck up. What kind of bullshit? If you actually go and scroll down through the thing, they mention like, because of burnout, they care about burnout and increasing inflation, reduce real wages, economic insecurity, grueling working hours, etc., etc., etc. And then they say that Gen Z workers, they're more environmentally responsible, they want better pay, they want more secure employment. And the way that they're framing this is, they want it all. How about you? Okay, what can people have? No, genuinely, what can fucking people have? If they can't have a secure employment, if they can't have a fucking decent wage, if they can't, finish work at 5 and then come home, right? And not have to fucking slave away 6-7 extra hours a week or even more trying for some bullshit. As a result of the war on work, Gen Zers have been dubbed entitled or anti-capitalist. Yet they're not. They just want it all. Fuck you. Oh my god.
I mean, it's trying to have like a positive light on us, and yet it defines what we want as all of it, as if it's not the basic fucking minimum. You know, it sounds like the guy who can never stay in a fucking relationship, and instead of looking inwards and questioning why that's the case, they create this whole red pill theory about how it's the women that have to be insane. Obviously, same this way. It's not the bourgeoisie. It's not the employer who is taking away inch by inch. It used to be now meter by meter. Our free time. So people are just not giving a fuck anymore. It has to be the workers who are whack.
My favorite part about all this shit is that they list with research all the things that are genuine that people want, and then they try to spin it as if it's like something excessive or like, you're being unreasonable for wanting these. Like they mention, the top priority for Gen Z people is as a whole is higher pay. That's the top priority for any generation of worker, not just fucking Gen Z, right? And they mention literally everything fucking wrong. They're like, millennials entering the workplace prior to Gen Z people, they wanted more career progression and quote-unquote personal development because that was right at the confluence of 2008 before that.
We still believed in that shit back then. Yeah. Like there was some hope like, it might actually happen. You grind and shit. But now the fucking kids are smart. Yeah. They see their fucking older brothers and sisters fucking eating dirt every fucking day,
That's what the fucking article says. They're like, Gen Z faces particularly acute stressors. They face rising inflation outpacing the salary growth. They see lesser economic security and more economic precarity. Half of American Gen Zers who are old enough to work witness someone in their household lose a job or take a pay cut due to COVID-19, etc., etc., etc. They just keep listing them, right? And then afterwards, they're like, here's a quote from some 23-year-old lady, and they use this quote in the article, and she says, "There's nothing wrong with just focusing on existing and enjoying life. You do not have to define yourself by your job." And they're using this to be like, this is how entitled are they? Fucking hell. And another thing is like, Gen Zers care more about diversity and inclusion and take mental health more seriously. And they're trying to frame this as a negative thing. And by the way, I love the fucking pictures. They have all these like well-to-do fucking, like a very prim and proper African-American gentleman looking through like a pane of glass. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Right? And the blurbs are completely disconnected. Like, Gen Zers and millennials hold many of the same workplace values, but Gen Z seems to have more willingness to act on them. Fucking, and then it says Getty Images.
Good, yeah, good. Like. Oh no, there is great hope in the coming generations, including the millennials, including the Gen Z, and I can't even imagine what the fucking hologram skateboard riding motherfuckers in the next generation Alpha or some shit is gonna be like. But yeah, it's interesting times. Even like class consciousness has, at least in some parts of the world, become so easy to achieve, which is very good for our movement in general, because the employer's attitude is at that stage in which they don't want to give any sort of rights back to the employee in order to keep them quiet. It's just unfortunate, as most of us know, this cycle tends to repeat when the employers start seeing the consequence of not giving their slaves at least a little bit to make them happy. So they will, throw us some scraps give us some salary increases here and there, make the office a bit lighter or move to a nicer building, or, let you work from home 24/7, and we will all calm down just the way they have always calmed us down. But as all of you should know, as these moments of crises which are answered by reform repeat, there is less and less that reform in the long term can do. So while yes, they can keep us content decade in and decade out, reform as a tool to stifle revolutionary sentiment and class consciousness in general eventually runs out as a possibility, because more and more capital is contained in fewer and fewer hands, and there's a bigger and bigger power disbalance, and there's less scraps to quite literally throw at us to make us smile for a difference. And we'll see when that chain fucking breaks, but it's inevitably going to break, or the planet will burn down and we will all die.
Basically. Take us to the next one, Habibi.
Kim Jong-un ripped out his fat, long, thick, bulging, throbbing rocket and fired it over a Japanese island this week. It flew over 4.6 1,000 kilometers with an altitude of over 1,000 kilometers, arguably now definitely being able to hit the closest U.S. territory, the island of Guam, at 3,300 kilometers away. But okay, like Kim tries his weapons all the time. The development of nuclear armaments is the only surefire way to have undeniable sovereignty. Most of you children should know this. But flying it over Japan is definitely more provocative. He's getting older. He's getting more demanding. So honestly, this coming after Vladimir's consecutive warning that he'll nuke the shit out of everyone if they dare touch the bear more, makes us all super excited about the incoming nuclear holocaust, right? But in my opinion, like, I get the need to flex, especially at the fucking Japanese. But if the rocket was to fall and randomly land on some random Japanese city, which would, I'm sorry, but as dark as it is, be pretty funny if it would happen to Japan for the third time.
Lord.
But yeah, it would not be fun. So, Kim, bro, like, over the sea, you get what I'm saying?
The thing, I will say one thing, though. They did test a fairly long-range missile, and when you look at the actual trajectory of it, and if you look at the geography, there's literally no way you can fire and test a missile that goes that far without it going over some country. It needs to go either over parts of Russia, it needs to go over parts of South Korea, or over the Southeast Islands, or over Japan. There's literally no other way that you can
Okay, then
make
over
it.
Japan, that's the one I would miss the least. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, yeah. But also, if you actually look at the trajectory, it's incredibly well planned. They made it past exactly in the confluences between the main Japanese island and Hokkaido, right? The northernmost island. There's a little sea gap there, and that's the area that it flew over for the most part. So the amount of area that it covered over Japan is very, very small. So I would actually, if we're being, kind of, I don't want to use the word honest, but if you want to look at it from a less critical way, it looks like they actually tried to do their best with testing a missile while reducing how much, like which land it would have to go over, right?
Yeah, and some analysts, even Western ones, would agree with you completely, from what I've read. So it's not, you're. I'm just talking to the viewers. It's not Hakim's positive sentiment to Kim's throbbing, large, thick rocket. It's like most people agree. That was arguably one of the safest directions to practice this. But then, the question is, fucking nukes, bro. Like, oh my god, should we even practice them? But then that goes into sovereignty and blah blah. But yeah.
But also, God bless them. God bless the DPRK. Look, hey, Libya didn't, Syria didn't, Iraq didn't, okay? Look at those fucking countries now. God bless the DPRK for fucking, at least they're going to maintain their sovereignty, okay? They're not going to end up having to fucking eat Big Macs anytime soon, which is... Well, I remember we mentioned this earlier.
Or chicken McNuggets would suck. They suck.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, the first place that's burned down, I remember you mentioned this, is the fucking McDonald's. Oh man. Do we have anything more to say about that one?
No. That was just a quick update about our impending doom. Over to you, sir.
Yes, literally every week. It's hilarious at this point. You know, there's been this meme going on for the past like 3 years. It's like, can we go 1 week without living through some like history-defining moment?
Like Lenin, I know you said like history happens in weeks, but man, these are too many fucking weeks, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hold on. There's something else. There's something arguably way worse. I don't know if people know about, but there's this little thing called Nord Stream. Okay.
Yeah.
And and what happened recently was, for the people who are unaware, it's basically a pipeline that goes from Russia through the Baltic Sea to mainland Europe to provide gas. And it was built by the Russians in collaboration with some other countries, and it was meant to be the second sort of pipeline that's built for the supply of gas for basically heating and almost in all industry practically in the EU. Something like 40% of industry in the EU relies on Russian gas, something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, depends on the country. Some go up to 70%, some go down to 20%, but yes, average 40%. Yes, you're correct.
Thank you, Habibi. But what happened was basically somebody, I don't know who could have done it, who could possibly have done it. Somebody has blown up the fucking pipeline. I love that people start posting that picture of Joe Biden, and he has the how to blow up a pipeline book
tutorial, yeah.
with the fucking sunglasses. But yeah, so that happened, and now there's basically the entire world was like, yeah, the US did this. It's like beyond obvious that the US did this, and several European officials and leaders and whatnot came out of the woodwork to be like, hey, yeah, so what the fuck
Please
are you doing to the US? And the US flexed their muscles. Yeah, please help. But yeah, and then the US flexed its muscles a bit and got some people to delete some tweets. So now you know how, back in the day, the CIA used to assassinate people. Now they make their allies delete tweets. So, yeah. Oh fuck! Can you imagine that State Department fucking is like, tell the former Polish Prime Minister to delete that tweet. We will not stand.
Like the modern human psychology is that if you're winning on Twitter, you are basically winning. Like, it doesn't matter what actually happens on the ground. So I completely understand it. Like, they probably have whole departments of tweet moderation. Tweet death squads. They kill all the tweets really.
They have the bots. Hey, they have the fucking bots.
Oh yeah,
I'm not surprised.
That was proven. That was proven. Yeah.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? Now though, like what's been going on the past couple of days is that there's this huge effort by Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and a bunch of other countries to go investigate what exactly happened, right? And everywhere, by the way, you see it says suspected sabotage, which I find very hilarious because pipelines don't have controlled detonations. Just like it's so obviously clear, but also I know why they have to say it like this. But they're like, ooh, suspected sabotage. And they're investigating now, right? And there's this stupid conspiracy theory that's come out. It's like, oh, Russia's the one that sabotaged. I was like, what could they possibly fucking... They spent billions on this fucking thing.
They have the button that can stop it from working. Why would you blow it up?
Yeah, because people are stupid. Russia has to be fucking wrong in this, right? Like, it's so fucking transparent because all the fucking gas and like production and providing facilities in the US, all of them saw their portfolios. They all saw them jump, right, after this. And it's what's that? There's the Latin phrase, right, where like politically you say who benefits, right? Yeah. And it's so clear as fucking day the particular business interests and of course foreign policy interests that are benefited by this action, particularly in the United States. And then some people are still stupid enough to be like, oh no, it was the Russians that are sabotaging their own trump card over all of Europe. They're sabotaging it. Yes,
it was an absolutely brilliant move by the U.S. If I was working for the U.S. State Department, I would recommend this completely. Yeah, you're burying some of the fucking Euro white trash over across the fucking pond, but do we really give a fuck? Like, you own those fucking bitches. Like, what? He's gonna complain it's fucking cold? You want the fucking bear to come warm you up then, bitch? You know, like it was the perfect move. It obviously it made sense for them to do it, and even greater confirmation from Biden that happened, like, I don't know, today or yesterday in an interview. They were like, if Putin keeps flexing, we'll blow up the other Nord Stream. like,
no Lamau.
and it was like,
But
okay, I mean, come on, tell it to me more in my face.
again, flirting with nuclear war yet again. But my point being is, hilariously already in Europe, because hey, it's October now, so it's slowly but surely the winter is coming. And I saw these videos, and it's in across, for example, the Czech Republic and a bunch of other countries, in high schools and middle schools now, they've turned off the heating because it's so expensive, and they instead hand out blankets to their students, which I'm just like, is this really what the fuck you're gonna do? Like, in 2 months, nobody's gonna give a shit about Ukraine because they're gonna be half frozen in their fucking apartments.
That's what Putin's betting on. Let's see where it goes.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see.
But that's it. That was just we could talk so much more about Nord Stream, but this is just a slight tangent, just to let you know, just to keep you up to date.
Absolutely. Pipeline go boom, and yes. Dark Brandon go smiley smile, and
he goes and fucks
Putin shakes fist angrily. I'm just imagining it like a fucking little
it's
comic
like
book where,
cartoonish.
do you know that, like, what was the fucking meme? Hey Papa, said Papa. No, what was it? When that little baby talks to Papa. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The fucking YouTube one. Yeah,
but that I'm just imagining like Biden, Zelensky, Putin, the fucking German chancellor, obviously the French motherfucker, like talking to each other in like a little room and screaming, "No, Papa, no Nord Stream, Papa, Papa Nord Stream, Papa." Like, very niche joke. I apologize, but it can't get out of my head. We're still children, man. We're still children. Governments with no class consciousness are fucking idiots.
All right. Could you tell us about Burkina Faso, Habibi?
Sure. This is a little bite-sized information for our listeners, just so they know about what's going on. So Burkina Faso, known to many a communist for spawning one of the greatest revolutionary socialist figures in history, Thomas Sankara, has been engulfed in fighting and overthrow of their ex-government. Traore, a relatively low-ranking officer who days earlier was running an artillery regiment in a small northern town, has been catapulted into the world stage since he and a group of soldiers overthrew President Paul-Henri Damiba in the September 30th coup. Little is known about Traore and his colleagues, who since Friday have delivered statements on national television brandishing guns, ammunition, belts, and masks. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's very like IRA aesthetic. It's I fucks with it.
Really good, I thought.
I thought
they looked fucking banger. Yeah,
I fucks with it. Absolutely. They face gigantic challenges to alleviate hardship in one of the world's poorest countries, where drought, food shortages, and creaking health and education systems provide daily challenges for millions. Yet the initial focus has been conflict and politics. In an interview with Radio France International on Monday, Traore, a career soldier who has fought on the front lines against Islamist militants in the north, insisted he would not be in charge for long. Their moves, which may include army reform and ties to new international partners such as Russia, could alter politics in West Africa and change how Burkina Faso fights the previously mentioned Islamist insurgency that has at this point killed thousands and forced millions to flee. Army officials initially supported Damiba when he took power back in January, promising that he would defeat the bad guys, but they quickly lost patience. Damiba refused to reform the army, and Traore's junta just said fuck off. Attacks worsened, and last week at least 11 soldiers were killed in an attack in the north. What is very interesting here for more of an international audience is that Russia was the only country to support the move, while the West condemned the coup, especially the French. Oh my God, I wonder why. To quote actually Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was the real, not that guy you see in all the fucking screenshots or whatever, but the real founder of the private military company Wagner Group, which operates all across Africa, including in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso's neighbor Mali said, "I congratulate and support Captain Ibrahim." The question here is, will Burkina move even further away from France and potentially ally with Russia? Time will tell, but one thing is for sure, as unipolarity is wobbling, plenty are about to start switching sides. And I guess Burkina Faso is just the beginning.
You know, my favorite part, again, it's like, this is, if you read, there's a CNN article on it, right? And at the end of it, like, we don't know anything about this guy. Really, literally, there's very little information about what's going on exactly right now. The very little we've seen seems to have been positive. But he has been semi-friendly to Russian interests, or not interests, but to Russian officials, not even that, but personnel, that's the word to use, in the region. And as a result, they have to give it a negative twist, I guess, in the thing. I don't know why, but for example, they mention how he shows up to a ministerial meeting, and they talk to him about, for example, some safety of schools, should they reopen? Oh, there's a new railway line being put down, etc., etc. They're asking these questions, and they say Traore, who had to consult with advisors, did not have all the answers. What? So he's supposed to be some fucking omnipotent being? This is a good thing that he doesn't fucking just. People are so stupid, I swear to God. The way it's worded, it seems negative, but it's completely unnecessary. Like, so Traore doesn't have the answers, but Biden does? I've never seen anybody write like this about fucking Biden.
They're spinning it like, oh my God, this idiot who's controlled by Russians is taking over the country. Yeah. We should instead have idiots that are controlled by French people running the country. Because,
exactly right.
That's better for the local population.
Moving on, bringing it back to Ukraine one last time. The U.S. very recently, by the way, has had to deal with a hurricane that has caused millions of dollars of damage, if not billions of dollars of damage, on Florida and of course other areas. Some people have died. Lots of people have lost, homes and livelihoods and whatnot. And I think it was how much was the government relief? Was it 60 million or something ridiculous like that? Very little. Do you want to know how the new package that literally, by the way, was announced 2 days ago to Ukraine from Biden is $625 million in military aid to Ukraine?
For what? For military aid, yes.
Yeah, exactly. For mobile rocket launchers.
Yeah, not hospitals. Okay.
No. $625 million. How many American cities currently do not have adequate drinking water, for fuck's sake, and they're doing this shit? It's so transparent, it's so sad. And what's worse is that Americans seem to have no issue with this, because as far as I've noticed, at least as far as I've read, most Americans don't give a shit really about Ukraine, right? It's not even the war against Iraq or Afghanistan, stuff like that, where there was some semblance of support for that. Most people don't give three shits about what's going on in Ukraine right now. They care more about the fact that their inflation is eating their savings, and the opportunities are basically dog shit. But nobody's actually going out there and saying, hey, let's how about this money instead goes to fucking funding schools and healthcare and all that kind of fucking, I don't know what to tell you. But this is also on top of several previous billion dollar aid packages, all military, by the way, to Ukraine, which again just seems to reinforce that statement, which is Washington is ready to fight until the last Ukrainian. So and what can you do? In total, by the way, $17 billion worth since Ukraine's been invaded since February. So over several months, $17 billion. Very, very interesting.
It's a long-term investment, hoping to eliminate as many players fighting against U.S. interests as they potentially can. That money being spent on alleviating, people from literally dying from water in their own country would not lead to the furthering of local capitalist goals. And to me, for example, the same hurricane hit Cuba, where, by the way, up until now, nobody has apparently died. Everybody's spinning, the fact that, I don't know, the other day electricity ran out in the capital city for a full day, into a massive failure of the system and the local government. Yet, when the same thing happens in the wealthiest place that has ever existed, nobody's batting a fucking eye. The American is used to his countrymen fucking falling over like flies everywhere, and the American politician has noticed, and he's gonna milk that for fucking ever.
You want to lead us into your the lovely a little economic downtake, maybe possibly that we might be encountering.
When working class people are feeling the ick, as it's called, then everybody questions if they really feel it. Like, is there really a recession? Is there really something that we should be afraid of incoming? But and you might not even be wrong, but when CEOs and the highest echelons of financial society start saying those very same sentences, all of a sudden you have CNN, Wall Street Journal, BBC, putting out article after article. And here's one that I would like to quote, called CEOs are preparing for a recession and they do not think it will be short. So ladies and gentlemen, if the bourgeoisie is openly stating that this is coming, I'm sorry for your little cute wallets, but this is coming. To quote, there has been tremendous uncertainty over the past 2.5 years. Chairman and CEO of KPMG said, referring to the COVID-19 pandemic and worries about inflation, now we have another looming recession. Companies are preparing for a downturn and planning to cut expenses. Big way to slash costs. We all know job cuts. KPMG noted that more than half of the CEOs are considering workforce reduction to deal with a recession. So if you are working in any field which can afford to cut their workforce, there is a chance, I'm very sorry, but that you might actually be cut. For example, the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the global financial crisis and Great Recession led to a doubling of the unemployment rate back then, 2008-9, from 5 to 10%. There is optimism for the longer term about the U.S. economy and the prospects of their own organizations. Another CEO said companies see themselves as more resilient and better prepared. Keyword there, companies are better prepared because they now have very established policies. In the case 2008 and 9 repeats, and in those policies they're not counting you as a necessary item to possess if you are not extremely important to them. Obviously, so whatever you're working at, try to define yourself in the coming months as something that cannot exist without, because most likely when HR calls you up and calls another 50 guys up, they're gonna be thinking, okay, which 10 to keep. But yeah, it's fucked up. To quote another one, companies can't overreact in the short term because they can create problems for the long term. The pandemic has still created pressing concerns for companies, and companies hope that there will be a quick takeoff in the economy again after a slowdown. To translate that to normal people, they're saying, hey, government, if you give me fucking money, I'm going to swallow my pride and not fire as many people. If you don't give me money, your voters will be very angry, and the government will most definitely do that as well. Another CEO says there is real uncertainty about the outcome of the midterms and potential for tougher tax legislation and increased regulations. This is the only moment in which throughout the article they are properly 100% concerned and aren't saying, yes, we're concerned, but there's things we can do. Tax increases, there's nothing we can do. We will literally just fall apart. To finish off with a survey of mid-market companies conducted last month by accounting and advisory firm Markham LLP and Hofstra University's Frank G. Zarb School of Business showed that more than 90% of CEOs of mid-sized companies are concerned about a recession. More than a quarter of those CEOs said that they have already begun layoffs or plan to do so in the next 12 months. 90% of CEOs of mid-sized companies, these are people with the access to the widest array of information, people who are constantly scouring everything. They are mostly paying other people to scour for them and give them information, but you get my point. If somebody knows what the fuck's going to happen in the next few years, these are these people. So the doomer pill presented by Yugopnik, I know, but sometimes, when you know the doomer pill is coming, you have those two nice little fingers ready to make yourself vomit it the fuck out. So if you can prepare, the sting will hopefully hit less.
No, I completely agree. of course, nobody can see into the future, right? So, but we are kind of overdue for a recession, and COVID's, little shake-up of the economy, like it did cause a recession, but it wasn't exactly a result of just standard market function, right? It wasn't the bust that we're expecting. That was just a shake-up. So something worse is coming down the line, if it's in 12 months or if it's in a few years or if it's in fucking 2 weeks. who the fuck knows, right? But it's always best to, to prepare adequately. So if you're not in a union, you should be in a union, right? You should be in organizations if necessary. And also, it wouldn't hurt to have your CV ready. Just in case. But yeah, this shit, it does end up, is very terrifying. But also that's why we're socialists. We want a better world where this shit doesn't fucking happen. Exactly. Speaking of, I'm gonna just lead into the last item that we have for today, which is, I don't know if people are aware, but recently, the new government that has existed for a single month barely in Britain, one of the first things that they decided to do, by the way, keep in mind that right now within the UK, it is one of the worst cost of living crises to ever have affected the nation. And their first decision was, you know what we should do is cut the tax rate for the absolute richest in the fucking UK. This was their actual... Brilliant. And by the way, not only this, they had subpoints to this this little cute plan that they had, which included, by the way, some further deregulation, and of course less funding, more privatization, etc., etc. So the usual fucking neoliberal package. And this was by the Conservatives, the Tories. These are the people who are doing this, and there was so much outrage within society as well as within their own conservative party that they had to humiliatingly fucking do a U-turn and be like, you know what, no, we're not gonna go ahead with a fucking tax cut, we're not gonna do any of this shit, which is fucking hilarious to me, because do you know what's so funny to me? It's like you're a party of ghouls, and some of the ghouls with you are like, wait, hold on. Yeah. You guys are going way too fucking far. Right?
And even the ghouls go like, mate, what? Mate, what? Fuck, mate. Mate, you should fucking increase the fucking taxes that much, mate.
Exactly right, yes. So, words to that effect. Exactly. But yeah, I love how, like, their finance minister was like, oh yeah, it was a slight oversight. Motherfucker, you think.
It's so funny how Liz kind of indirectly pushed him down the fucking thing, because he's in all of the videos where they talk about how they're not actually going to do it and how they're apologetic, but Liz is just chilling in the background. Sorry, yes?
By the way, my favorite point is, and I forgot to say this, when they announced it, there was so much panic in British markets that the fucking pound it tanked. It became worth less than the dollar briefly. Yep. Can you fucking imagine? Has that ever happened? I don't think so.
Not since a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. By the way, sorry. What he called it, he said he acknowledged that it was the little turbulence. Yes, that's it. When the pound fucking... You idiots, Jesus Christ. But they're like, oh, no, the government should press ahead with the privatization, deregulation, etc. This will revive growth and stimulate the economy. No more distractions, all this fucking bullshit they're saying. And hilariously, the way that they want to offset all this deregulation was to just increase government borrowing, which hilariously they haven't fucking learned from yet, or still. Yeah. So I don't even know what to say. It's beyond ridiculous that they even tried this. And what amazes me more is the working class movement in the UK that bad that they have such balls that they thought that they could get away with this? Like, genuinely, is it that fucking, right? It's ridiculous. And by the way, hilariously, the fucking Labour's, the surveys, like support from voters for Labour, fucking shot up like 30% after this. So that's my point. There should be proper organizations so that they could organize this, because otherwise you end up with this yo-yoing, this fucking pendulum between, Labour, Tory, and nothing ever fucking changes. And finally, the last point that I want to say is many conservatives have warned tax and spending cuts risk taking them back to their nasty party image of 20 years ago. Oh yeah, because they're not inherently a fucking nasty party. You bunch of fucking dorks. Jesus Christ. Ghouls, I don't know what to word them as. Absolute fucking assholes. But yeah,
it's a piece of art. Like at the moment when they chose to do it is absolutely incredible. And just to comment on what you said about the British working class, like it's additionally insane because like there was massive union strikes and some still going on, be it for the railway, be it for any other industry, all over the United Kingdom. And somehow they chose to quite openly not open their eyes at the situation. Because like that's what they often do. We even mentioned this briefly in this episode. Like you, when you know you gotta give them some breadcrumbs, if you're a smart conservative or right winger, if you know in like 5 years you're gonna have to give them some breadcrumbs, make it as fucked up as possible so that the breadcrumbs you're giving them, you literally had taken away 5 years ago, but it makes them feel like they're getting something in return. So like you decrease taxes for the wealthy now, and then you increase it in 5 years, and it's like, oh my god, working class hero. Yeah, it's
hold on. I completely agree with you, but you will not believe this shit.
Tell me.
The last time that the British pound was below US the last time it dipped to the same level that it dipped in just like a week ago was in 1984. That's so fucking funny. That's so fucking. For people unaware, that's the Thatcher fucking privatization, neoliberalism and bullshit. That's when it first took off the fucking. That's when it took off. And that's what we have to.
every time a conservative, the genius of advanced economics, fucking touches their own currency, it fucking loses fucking everything. It's art.
So that was that. A lot of negative news, but also, you know what? What can you do, right? Organize, agitate, educate, unionize, do all the stuff that you need to. Educate yourself particularly. That's the most important part, because if you're uneducated, then you can't even begin to make an appropriate analysis. But also remember that it's not all doom and gloom. Life goes on, all right?
Open bars after 8 p.m. on a Thursday. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah.
Who knows? I remember who said this. I think it was Mao that mentioned this. The statement. It was like the first like revolutionary explosion, can we say, only launched the Paris Commune. The second one launched the Soviet Union and several others that failed, and the third one launched like all across Eastern Europe and Africa and Latin America and China, Vietnam and all these other countries. And the idea being that the next one will go even further. So there's good to be optimistic and to be forward thinking about this sort of stuff. Not to just don't take the doomer pill, the black pill. All right.
At all.
We'll find our way out, and everything will sort itself. You just need to, have faith, be optimistic, and as Gramsci said, actually, it's pessimism of the mind, but optimism of the soul, and that requires, like I said, organizations, educate, agitate, organize, unionize, etc., etc.
Every single thing and every single event that we mentioned today, quite literally proves almost every Marxist argument. Yeah. Take it that way. Like, in a weird way, the more fucked up shit gets in capitalism, the more it proves how the system doesn't work. So even the darkest of pale could be the brightest of light.
Exactly right. And with all that said, this has been a very lovely episode. We want to thank, of course, our lovely, lovely patrons, without which we wouldn't be able to do this. And also, by the way, let us know if you like this. We really like doing these news episodes regularly. Keeps everything fresh and light, at least in some way.
Very, yeah.
but it keeps us having fun as well. So do let us know how you like this stuff. That being said, everybody wish JT many, jolly tidings for that. JT has he's not only a daddy, he has become a dad as well now. So he's always in our hearts and in our minds, and we love him. And hopefully, inshallah, he'll be with us the next episode.
And we are now Tavarish uncles, which is fucking incredible.
Exactly right. All right, this has been the program. I'm Hakeem.
I'm Yugopnik, and I'm gonna go have a non-alcoholic beer for JT's beautiful child.
Hey, I'm gonna go throw eggs outside my house.
Yeah, and water.
Yes.